I'm going to get into what happened yesterday with the 49ers and the Rams. Um, I mean, the Niners just heard that I predicted they would get 13 wins this year, and then they decided, you know what? We're not going to let it happen. They're like, you know what? Josh is going to be 1 win short, or at least he's going to overcompensate by 1 win. And I mean, really, this game didn't really have any impact. Besides the fact that Jake Moody missed a 38-yard field goal. I want to say it was 38. And then he missed PAT, which is pretty alarming because in every team, like I guess the cliche is always you're only as good as your weakest link. And I could 100% see the next 49er playoff blunder. There's always an iconic moment in every single 49er playoff loss, at least since I've been watching, or like the past 10, 12, 14 years. There's always that one moment that you can point to. Kyle Williams, the overthrow and what I thought was a missed defensive holding call on Michael Crabtree on the fade route on 4th down. There was that. There was, the interception that Kaepernick forced to Michael Crabtree, and then Richard Sherman ended up intercepting it, or he might have tipped it. I forget. I try to block that out from my mind because it makes me depressed. There's the Jaquiski Tartt dropped interception. There's the Jimmy Garoppolo overthrow. What if the 49ers are in the Super Bowl or in the NFC Championship game? The game comes down to the final, play. They're down by 1 or down by 2, and they get to kick the go-ahead field goal. There's only time to either run one more play, but they're, kind of far away, and it all comes down to Jake Moody. If you're a 49er fan watching this, don't you have a knot in your stomach right now thinking about that? Because I would not be confident. And Jake Moody's been fine all year. He started off very poorly against the Raiders when the Raiders iced him twice in a preseason game. Yeah, fuck Josh McDaniels for that. Kind of like got in his head. And then Jake Moody struggled during the preseason, and then throughout the whole season, he's been money. Like, he's been money except for that Cleveland, the game against Cleveland. He cost the 49ers that game, but the Niners had many opportunities to win that game. But man, Moody has to just tough it out for the next couple weeks, turn off social media, or I guess tune in however he normally prepares. Don't make it bigger than what it needs to be. You just have to kick the ball, and it's got to go through those 2 uprights. Nothing else matters. So Jake Moody, you absolutely, I always use the word absolutely. I need to find, I need to, read a thesaurus and get new words to use. But you definitely need to take some pressure off of yourself and just remember, it's one kick at a time. Don't think about the circumstances. Just think about you, the ball, and the uprights. Block everything else out. I've never played kicker, but I'm pretty sure just be focused. Please don't cost the Niners. Because if somebody had to cost the Niners, I'm pretty sure it would be Moody or Kyle Shanahan doing something stupid again, like he's done in how many playoff runs.
Well, I think the Niners really just need to ensure that they can't allow Moody to,
they can't put it in his hands.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's what the Niners need to focus on.
Yeah. And then so, other things that happened in this Rams game was Puka Nacua broke 2, rookie receiving yard records, for the Rams. And I'm happy for Puka Nacua. He absolutely deserved it. He made a huge contribution to my fantasy team. So that kind of sweetens it for me that he gets like a happy ending to his season, or his regular season. We'll see how the playoffs unfold. But Other than that, things that stood out was, Sam Darnold started off well, and typically the Niners will start off well with the scripted plays that Shanahan has, and then what I noticed with Sam Darnold is they struggle to move the ball at a certain point, and they just stop scoring for whatever reason. The offense kind of flatlines, you know, and then final drive to potentially win the game. The Niners were down 1 point, and they were going to try to get it in field goal range or potentially score a touchdown. And I would have loved for them to get it into field goal range and let Jake Moody end the day off with like a good note. But if he was going to miss that kick too, I would rather the way that it ended just happen. Where, all right, it's already a bad day for Jake Moody. Just forget about it. Move on. You don't want him thinking about another miss. You know what I mean? You don't want to completely shatter his confidence if it wasn't already shattered, with the missed kicks. But one thing that was interesting was that Brett Maher, the Rams kicker, also missed at least a field goal yesterday. So it wasn't just Moody. So, I'm over here getting moody about it, but really, I think the Niners made the right decision in, not playing Brock Purdy against the Rams. I wish that maybe more of the starters would have gotten the day off, but they were out of the game quickly. It was really like it was a dress rehearsal for the team, and Sam Darnold, I don't have a lot of faith in him. So if the Niners can keep Purdy healthy during the playoffs, I think they'll be in good shape. But let's see. Joel says the Brett Maher special. Yeah. For those of you who don't know, Brett Maher was the Cowboys kicker last year who missed how many kicks in a row and, ended up getting fired or, cut from the team. Yeah, he missed at least 4 in a row, but yeah. And then he ended up missing yesterday too. So it was a Brett Maher special. I don't really have much else to say about the Rams game, but let's kind of go quickly.
Can we
pull up the?
Yeah, can we go over our overall season for both teams?
Yeah. I forgot to do that during the Raider topic, so we'll go through both. In just
really quickly.
Yeah, I'm just I'm fixing it right now. To have the most accurate information. All right, so at the end of the 49er season, I picked the Niners in every game. There were a couple conditions.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah, there were a couple conditions, but it got to a certain point where it's like I can't bet against the Niners. And then during that 3-game losing streak, I was expecting the Niners to turn it around at whatever certain point. They arguably, besides that missed kick, they had opportunities to win that Browns game. The Vikings game, there was no excuse for that. They lost it in the end. The Bengals, the Niners genuinely got their asses handed to them by the Bengals. Like, the Niners genuinely were not the better team that day. And then they went on the bye week, got Chase Young, went on a winning streak. And then the Ravens game happened, and we learned a lot, that the Niners aren't far and beyond every team. They are beatable, right? Even though we should have learned that here, especially with the Bengals game. But I figured the Bengals are not, they're not the same without Burrow, so you don't have to worry about them down the line. Yeah, and then they let me down against the Rams. Really, that was the difference. We would have tied.
Yeah. The Rams game was the difference.
Rams game was the difference. We would have tied. So we finished off the season. I had 23 correct predictions and 11 incorrect ones. You had 25 correct predictions with 9 incorrect ones. But
we'll keep track of because we're going to start doing playoff predictions.
Yeah.
They won't be as we don't have to make a box for it, but we can just kind of tally it or whatever. And then come back after the Super Bowl or something. But
I might make a box for Niner ones. Well, but we'll see how I want to do it.
Sure.
So that Chiefs game, that last, you were pretty. I gave it to you because you were pretty adamant the Raiders were going to win, but I think you were expecting Jacobs to play, so
Yeah.
that last minute switch, if you had been like, sort of thinking it was a coin toss, and then you wanted to switch, I would have said nah,
Yeah.
there's no way. But I re-listened to that video in particular, and you were like, yeah, the Raiders are going to win this game. So, man, what a hell of a season. We got more right than we did wrong, but the Niners really helped me a lot because I just picked them every game.
Yeah, you did. Man. Yeah.
So, they're
So
a good team to bet on.
Yeah. No, I know. They are probably a lot of bettors' favorites this year.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, as far as the 2023 recap, I mean, what do you have? Or we could go through our predictions and everything if you want.
I predicted 13 wins. Really, we can kind of keep it light for the regular season recap, because the Niners, we're probably going to do another recap of, after the playoff run, just kind of, recapping everything as a whole. But the Niners started off very hot. They were the hottest team in football until they hit that 3-game skid. They added Chase Young. Chase Young was a good contribution. Yeah, I'm just repeating like what I said, like, on the like just a couple minutes ago. But
Right.
the Niners pretty much dominated down the stretch, but there was that game against the Ravens that makes things very interesting going forward as a potential Super Bowl, like if they meet up in the Super Bowl. Like if that Christmas Day game was a preview, the Niners are definitely going to attack them differently, I'd have to imagine.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, another notable thing about the Niners is that I had questions about Purdy, and Purdy is, still maybe in the conversation for MVP, just based off of his stats alone. He's a Pro Bowl quarterback. The offense was awesome. The offense was awesome this year, dude. They were like putting up at least 30 points every week. It felt like there weren't a lot of games where they didn't surpass 30. Yeah, George Kittle had at least 1,000 receiving yards. Brandon Ayuk had at least 1,000 receiving yards. Deebo Samuel, I think, also had at least 1,000 receiving yards. And Christian McCaffrey had 2,000 all-purpose yards in 16 games.
Yeah, that's a lot of yards for the offense.
Yep. And Brock Purdy became the single-season leader in passing yards in 49ers history, and they have 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks.
Yeah, and I think those names that you just got done listing and their 1,000 yards and 2,000 yards definitely help with that,
Yeah.
Did you want to go over like the MVP and breakout and all that stuff just really quick?
So what did I say?
So, all right, I predicted 11 to 12 wins for the Niners. They ended up with 12. We were both right there, For MVP, I picked Trent Williams. You picked Brock Purdy. I think it's pretty clear it's Purdy, although I'd still say Trent Williams was a good pick,
Mm-hmm.
And McCaffrey as well,
Mm-hmm.
For breakout, you chose Ayuk. You're dead on,
Mm-hmm.
You also said Drake Jackson. My picks were
I was dead wrong about Drake Jackson. Like he had a fantastic week 1, and then I don't know what happened to him. I think he's on IR right now, but he just he didn't live up to what I thought maybe he could be this season, and that's okay.
And then my breakout picks were Jair Brown, Cleveland Farrell, and Javon Hargrave. So Hargrave was a solid choice just because he was a new player. And then Jair Brown, he's now a starter, or at least he's a fourth starter because
injury.
Hufanga. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah, I have to say about Ayuk, I was all in on Brandon Ayuk this year. And I think he was playing for that contract. He's eligible for extension, I believe, after this year. It's going to be interesting to see what the 49ers do. and I would not like to see Brandon Ayuk leave. Although I feel like traditional wide receivers are more replaceable than other positions. But Ayuk is just such a fun player to watch. He's like easily one thing I want to do this offseason is I want to like rework our top 5 favorite players, on the current teams. I think Brandon Ayuk is clearly a top 5 favorite player for me. He's so fun to watch. Yeah.
This is his 4th season. So I don't remember if they
Picked up his 5th year option.
Did they?
I don't remember. But if
either way, they would have the franchise tag.
Ayuk averaged like 18 yards per reception this year, or somewhere in that ballpark. That's insane.
He and Kittle were insane as far as yards per catch.
Yeah. So could you imagine if Brandon Ayuk was not on the 49ers next year and he was on a team like the Kansas City Chiefs?
Yeah, it wouldn't be cool. That would not be nice.
I'm telling you right now, if Ayuk goes somewhere else, he is going to be a superstar. He's already arguably one. He's like an underused superstar on this team. He's right now a star.
Room. Yeah.
He's in a crowded room of stars.
Yeah. Yep.
If he goes anywhere else, he's going to be a superstar. So that's one thing to consider. Let's quickly go over the wild card matchups. I'll pull them up and share them on the screen, and we'll just kind of quickly give our predictions for the games.
I sent you a tweet that has a pretty good photo with every matchup in there.
Okay.
From ESPN. Pretty nice looking. Is there any noise in my background?
A little bit, but I think we can push through. It doesn't sound too bad.
Okay.
Okay. Wild card matchups. Let's go ahead and start with the AFC, and then we'll end with the NFC. We're just gonna go over round 1, and then we'll look at like a potential 49ers playoff roadmap after.
Yep.
So we've got Houston versus Cleveland. Who have you got, Mike?
I think this is the toughest matchup for me to pick. I think man, I wonder if they faced each other this season. I kind of feel like they didn't, but I was thinking they were going to face Jacksonville, Cleveland. I thought they were going to face Jacksonville, and there was a possibility they'd face the Colts. In either of those, I would have easily chose the Browns. With the Texans, I'm having a hard time. Stroud looked really good the other night. Oh, man. I really don't know who to choose. It's going to be at Houston. Wow. I'm assuming they're fully healthy, other than their quarterback. I'm choosing Cleveland.
I'm also choosing Cleveland. I think that defense is locked down. They're elite. AFC North is tough. They are a very tough division. Joe Flacco is playing fantastic, and I've seen him go on a playoff run. I don't want to see the same type of playoff run, but I think that Cleveland is good enough to beat Houston currently. And if Houston does win, it's going to be a CJ Stroud takeover.
Yeah, and that's very possible. I could easily see Houston winning this one too, but yeah, I got the Browns in this one.
All right, let's go Chiefs versus the Dolphins. This to me is a coin flip right here. Although I think somebody sent it might have been Tyler who sent in the group chat. I guess the Dolphins are going to be facing a lot of injuries,
especially on defense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I this is the way I look at the playoffs this year is anybody but the Chiefs, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to see the Steelers win either because they don't really deserve it and they have way too many Super Bowl wins. But all I care about is the Chiefs losing. I would love for Miami to win this game, but I got the Chiefs.
You got the Chiefs?
I got the Chiefs, unfortunately.
Oh, man, the Chiefs offense has been so bad, but Miami's on like a skid. They're like on a crash and burn right now, and injuries are not going to help that. I think I'm going to also go with the Chiefs. Travis Kelce is going to be coming off a week of rest. He's not the same player that he was, but yeah, it's going to be in Kansas City. I think that's a big deal. And to me, this game is still a coin flip. The Miami offense can absolutely, it can turn on at any moment.
Here's the thing about Miami. I think they're going to get Mostert and Waddle back. Hopefully that pushes them towards winning the game. I really hope Miami wins, but it's going to be at Kansas City in the cold. I don't know. I think Kansas City's experience will probably prevail,
And I think the NFL wants Mahomes to go a little deeper in the playoffs than just getting bounced the first round. So there might be a little Mahomes magic in there, as much as that might make you sick. But Tyreek Hill is returning to Arrowhead for a playoff game, obviously playing against the Chiefs this time. I was fully prepared to pick the Dolphins, but those injuries don't help. I'm going the Chiefs. All right. Buffalo versus Pittsburgh. I'm just going to say it. I'm picking Buffalo.
Yeah, myself as well. I don't see Pittsburgh doing any damage. Good for them for making the playoffs again under Mike Tomlin, but their offense isn't going to get it done against the Bills. And really what this sets up for me is probably Bills versus Chiefs. Luckily, it's at Bills in the divisional round, and then winner of Texans and Browns will face the Ravens unless Miami beats Kansas City. But yeah, Kansas City at Buffalo in the second round is pretty damn good. And then if we can possibly get Browns at Ravens, a divisional matchup, that's a fucking good pull,
Yeah. All right.
So
let's go over NFC. Tampa Bay versus the Eagles. Who are you going to pick, Mike? I know who I'm going to pick.
I wanted to hear yours first.
I think the Bucs are going to get it done.
Man.
I think the Bucs are going to do it. Yeah.
I think they're going to do it. I think the Eagles fucking stink right now. They fucking suck.
I think the Buccaneers are going to win. I think they're a better team right now.
Which is insane to say. Like, if we were going to say that the week before the Eagles faced the Niners, we would have been like, what are they smoking?
Yeah.
What are they smoking 8 weeks from now? Yeah, no, that's I don't know. It's at Tampa Bay, and I feel like somehow they will get it done. Somehow.
Yeah. Although the Buccaneers did like completely crap the bed against the Saints just a couple weeks, but the Saints are playing good right now. The Saints have been playing well. They're not in the playoffs, I notice, but
yeah, I'm gonna do something stupid right now. I'm gonna switch my pick. I'm picking the Eagles.
Are you?
Yeah. Only because I still like Jalen Hurts and all that. Like, I know I just said that they suck, but like they just have a really bad vibe right now. But I also feel like maybe they're that type of team that gets to the playoffs and they just like, all right, guys, we're back to being 0-0. It doesn't matter like what happened to the regular season happened. Here we are. It's time to just go win, and they get the job done this week. Although I like Tampa, and like my gut tells me, dude, Tampa might do this, I'm actually going to pick the Eagles. I think the experience, like, okay,
I want to as well, but I don't know, man.
Yeah,
Tampa Bay's been playing badly too. They barely beat the freaking Panthers. Now that
I was just going to say, like, the Eagles' experience in the playoffs will prevail, but also, I mean, Tampa Bay, they have players that have been winning the division 3 years in a row and going out and winning a Super Bowl just 2 or 3 years ago. So they have experience too. They very well can win this game, and Baker Mayfield's been playing great this season. And if they were to win this game, the Buccaneers should re-sign him to at least a 2-year deal, and good for him. But yeah, I'm gonna pick the Eagles.
I'm sticking Buccaneers. Yeah, for right now. If it changes, I'll tell you, but that's just kind of the vibe that I'm getting. Both teams, I think, are playing bad football the past. Eagles have been much longer that they've been playing bad football. Buccaneers have been like past 2 weeks, not so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Detroit versus LA.
My favorite matchup.
Yeah, Stafford returning to Detroit for a playoff game.
I got the Lions.
Yeah,
What about you?
I've also got the Lions.
Okay. Because, like, there's a big part of me that's like, dude, the Rams might do this one. They might win it. They very well could.
I think Detroit's the one team that can match up with the Rams pretty well because I think they've got like a pretty solid secondary to be able to cover, the Rams receivers. And, aside from that, I think Detroit's they've been having a great year. I don't think the Rams defense is going to be able to stop the Detroit offense. Like Aaron Donald might have a big game, against Jared Goff. Like, he might sack him a couple times, but I like Jahmyr Gibbs to be the special weapon that can, get the Lions to run outside, run away from Aaron Donald. So,
Yeah,
give me the
I
Lions.
like. I think these teams match up interestingly against
Mhm.
each other, and then you also have the aspect of Stafford versus his old home team, and then really, I think the revenge game narrative here is for Jared Goff.
Mhm.
Like, oh, you guys thought you could just, ship me out and treat me like trash, but here I am,
Mhm.
and now I have the high ground. I got the home field advantage. Um, and I think really at the end of the day, for me picking the Lions, it's not only that I think they're a better team, but they're a pissed off team because of that Cowboys game a couple weeks ago. And
Another thing about the Lions, dude, their fans are going to be wild. It's going to be a
oh,
loud playoff game.
oh yeah, it's gonna be awesome. I can't wait.
It's going to be a loud one. So,
Yep.
and then Dallas versus Green Bay. I'm picking Dallas.
Yeah, I'm picking Dallas, but I don't think it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be closer than we think.
I don't
You
think
know,
so. I don't think so.
I think it will be.
If
I
it
think.
is, that is a bad look on Dallas. I think Dallas is gonna beat Green Bay pretty easily.
Yeah, I mean, I guess part of me hopes so, but I just think Green Bay's offense lately has been doing really good. Um, but yeah, I got Dallas as well. And then really just last thing, as far as all these games, like just consider how good of a draw these wildcard matchups are. Texans versus Cleveland, not very much to say there. If Deshaun Watson was still healthy, though, holy shit.
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit, what a matchup. Watson versus his old team that he begged to get off of, right? Had all that
Mm-hmm.
shit happen with him. Tyreek Hill versus the Chiefs. Buffalo and Steelers, whatever. But two very good AFC teams that have been very consistent lately. Tampa Bay versus Philly. That's a rematch of like 2 years ago in the
Mm-hmm.
playoffs. Excuse me. Detroit versus LA. We already mentioned it. Stafford, Goff, McVay, so forth. And then Mike McCarthy versus his old team of the Packers. It's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
All right, so let's go ahead and look at like a potential. Oh, okay. You picked Dallas too, right? But you said it's going to be closer. Okay,
Yeah.
let's look at a potential 49ers playoff roadmap, at least for the NFC. So based on the predictions that we just gave, and this will be quick. It really shouldn't even be its own topic. We have the Niners probably playing the winner of either the Buccaneers or the Eagles, unless there's an upset in one of these two games. The Niners will be playing against. I'm thinking it's probably going to be Tampa Bay. Um, for the divisional game. I would rather play against Philadelphia again, honestly, than to play against the Buccaneers.
Uh, nah. I get it because you guys kind of killed the Eagles, but I don't know, man. I still think the Eagles on paper are that team that can at any given week do it. Whereas Tampa Bay, I just don't see that against the Niners. And the difference between Tampa Bay and Philly is Philly's pissed off against the Niners. Tampa Bay's not. Tampa Bay's just going to come into that game going, wow, here we are. Look at us. Oh, it's the Niners. Boom, they get killed. Whereas if it's Philly versus the Niners, it's like, all right, guys, let's go out there and let's fucking kill them. Remember what they
Mhm.
did to us a couple weeks ago? Let's fucking destroy them. That's what it's going to be.
So this was the Niners versus Buccaneers this year. It was a
Right.
lot closer game than the Eagles game was.
Right, but
And I don't
that's the same final as the Niners or the Raiders versus Broncos this past week, and that was a
Mhm,
straight up killing. You know, I
mhm,
understand that you're going to pull up the Eagles game. It's going to be like, look at what we did to the Eagles, but like, dude, all it is game planning. All it
yeah.
is do you game plan the right way? Do you coach it right? Any given week, I think the Eagles could beat you guys. I do not see that for the Buccaneers.
Mhm. I
I
think
would
the
be much more
Eagles
worried.
and the Buccaneers are both playing their worst football of the year. So
100%. But again,
and AJ
with
Brown
the
just got
Eagles,
hurt too.
yeah, and that could be a big thing for sure. But I think if the Eagles were to walk into San Francisco, relatively healthy, uh, they are a much bigger threat than the Buccaneers, in my opinion.
I think I think the Niners would want to play the Eagles more because of what happened last year in the playoffs, and I think the Niners would smoke them.
Yeah, I mean, it would also that would be a bigger confidence booster, in my opinion, beating the Eagles down again,
Mhm,
and a bigger like satisfaction to them.
mhm,
Like instead of the Buccaneers, it's like, oh yeah, the winner of that division, eh. Whereas the Philly, they're the defending NFC champions.
mhm.
Take them
Yeah.
down.
Okay, so I would have the Niners probably above either of these two teams, which would mean
Oh
they
yeah,
would be in the NFC Championship game. And this is looking way too far ahead, but it would be, just kind of the playoff scenario. The Niners would either play against Detroit or Dallas. I don't know, man. That's that's tough to think about. Like both those teams are tough teams. I don't think they're as tough as the Niners, but there's one thing that I think about every time I think about a potential rematch against Dallas in the NFC Championship game. I think about Micah Parsons, laugh now, cry later. And the Cowboys are playing really good football.
yeah. I mean, that could be our first callback. Damn it! Hold on. Sorry, my throat is killing me right now.
Yeah, I bet your knees are too.
Wow. Yeah, I was sucking off COVID all week.
Yeah.
But damn it. That was a massive L.
Yeah.
Um uh thanks.
Yeah.
Fucking the week that you guys played the Cowboys, dude. I said it. I was like, man, that fuck Dallas shirt. That's something that you do when you beat them in the playoffs, not in week 4 of the regular season. So right now, to me, it looks very likely that it's Cowboys at Niners NFC Championship, and the Cowboys are coming in way better than they were in week 4.
Oh yeah, they're a
And
pass
all
first
they're
team.
gonna
They figured it out passing wise.
they figured it out, and all they're gonna be thinking about is fuck Dallas. So that I'm not saying that Dallas should win that game, but that's
But
just something.
in the history between these two teams, they've inflicted so much pain on each other in the playoffs. So
Yeah.
what would be a greater pain than Dallas sending the Niners home? That on in this year. That would stun Niner fans. And then God, no, I don't. We can't let it happen. We can't let Dallas go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
Can't can't let it
that's
happen. It will be unforgivable.
yeah. If the Niners allowed Dallas to go to the Super Bowl and eventually win it, oh yeah, that's disgusting.
Yeah, that's
So,
disgusting. So we're gonna end the show off on that. I'm gonna go throw up now.